Food and weight obsession can be exhausting. Losing weight, gaining weight, dieting, feeling like a failure because you missed a workout, binged, overate, or gained all the weight back. The cycle is endless and it can be maddening. But I'm here to say you can stop the mental madness. You can take back control of your food behaviors, but you have to face your fears, you have to ask for help, and make a change. I am Leslie M. Thornton, permanent weight loss coach from hpwl.co. This is Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, and I know you can make this happen. On this podcast, you will hear how to stop the mental madness, love your body, trust your food decisions so you can create a life of happiness, freedom, and inner peace. The doctor could fix my body, but he could not fix my mind. I will never forget that scene of that Lifetime show, My 600-Pound Life, of this woman who did everything in her power and succeeded to lose weight so that she could get gastric bypass surgery. Now, we're talking about weight loss drugs in today's episode, but follow me for a second as it's the same exact concept. This woman, post-operation, after she just went through months and months of proving that she was worthy and capable of doing what it took to be successful as a patient and receiver of gastric bypass surgery, post-surgery, she is standing in front of the fridge, literally holding a big block of cheese and eating it. And that is what she said. The doctor could fix my body, but he could not fix my mind. It honestly makes me a little emotional to say it, to think about it. As a nurse, I took care post-op of patients who had the gastric bypass surgery. I saw many complications, and it just shows the desperation that our culture has when it comes to weight loss and knowing how to eat like a sane person. And there was many, many times where I felt like I was absolutely insane in the way I was eating, embarrassed and ashamed. And if you're in that space, I just want to extend my heart out to you because I used to believe I was a food addict. I literally used to put chains around, like had my previous boyfriend lock up a cabinet so I wouldn't get the sweets while he was at work. I stole food from his little brother out of his room and never said that I ate the sweets, and his siblings blamed him for eating too many of them, and I didn't say anything. Like, weird stuff. Okay, so I get it. I may not present as someone who gets it, but I always say it doesn't matter what weight you are. If you are a food addict in your mind, you are a food addict in your mind. If you're weight obsessed in your mind, you're weight obsessed in your mind. And obviously, here at Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, we focus primarily on the mind. The mind is where 95% of the results that you get in your life come from. If you are believing food obsessive thoughts, then you are going to be participating in food obsessive habits, especially when times of stress happen, your willpower runs out, you're not able to take it anymore, major life events happen, we fall off track, we don't get access to the same resources we had before. Maybe you were on a supplement, or we're going to talk about weight loss drugs today, or maybe you got injured, or maybe you had a new diagnosis, or menopause is happening and you can't control it anymore. And now the panic button sets in, and there's a blessing in disguise in that way, in that it's now forcing you to have to deal with the mental and emotional aspects all surrounding weight loss now that previously you had been able to kind of stuff down through your diet plan, through your exercise regime, etc. Well, if you want to equip yourself with the actual way that you can gain total permanent freedom around food, body, and weight issues, then listen up. And today's exciting topic, and by the way, if you have not yet received my new 2-hour free masterclass, please get it. text the word hypnosis to 1-855-232-5483 because that is, I was just watching it again and it's just so exciting. I've already had, I think, 3 new clients sign up since I put it out just a couple weeks ago because it is so landing with people. People are actually getting what's happening to them in this really exciting way. And obviously exciting for me as someone who's been doing this for 10 years to finally have something all put in with the exact steps for how I was not only able to lose 30 pounds, but also help 250 other people, end stress eating, end emotional eating. I'm now in a super happy, healthy relationship. It's all part of it. So that VSL, that 2-hour masterclass has all of those answers in it. So again, text the word hypnosis to 1-855-232-5483. You're going to hear me talk about it a lot. If you have previously subscribed on the podcast to that number, no worries, just text it again. There'll be a new training, a new will come through, even though you might have texted hypnosis to 1-855-232-5483 before. So super excited about that. And then there's a place for you to be able to book a call if it also is resonating with you. Completely complimentary call. If you have any questions or you want to share about what you learned with me, I'd love the feedback. So thank you in advance. Okay, let's get into the topic of today. So I have been noticing this really interesting thing happening in our program. This last year has been very, very interesting for the weight loss industry. I mean, Weight Watchers, for crying out loud, Weight Watchers has started to, they completely changed their business plan to now include the weight loss drugs. Why? Well, because they knew they were going to go completely bankrupt if they did not do that. And I have noticed that there has been lesser people, there were lesser people, but now since it's been about a year and people are starting to see the negative side effects, the expenses, the fact that the doctor, aka the pill, was able to fix their body, but it didn't actually fix their mind, they are now coming back into the program and finding us in a big way. So whether you have done weight loss drugs already, you're on them now, you're totally against them, you're totally for them. My intention is that this conversation just educates and brings in a different way of thinking or just just new insights on the entire topic. If you didn't see, Oprah did a weight loss special about a month ago or so, and she is also on the weight loss drugs herself. I saw that for one of the TV, and I never remember the names of the individual ones, the Golden Globe Awards, maybe, that the comedian made a joke of, if this is what Ozempic looks like, looking at all the celebrities, then maybe I better get on it. So it's it's the fad right now. Everybody's getting skinny. We've all seen Kelly Clarkson posting everywhere about her weight loss. And it's tempting. I even had a friend who said, don't get me wrong, I see it and it's very tempting to want to do that when I see that. And of course, it would be non-human to not want to have the sparkly answer. And my experience and what I'm now really concretely seeing with my clients is that it is just another fad. It is just another temporary fix that doesn't actually create the permanent transformation, creates permanent weight loss where you can not only lose weight, but keep it off long term and never, ever have to diet again. So if you're looking for that kind of result, then keep listening to this. So right now, I have more than half of my current clients in our Fast Track to Freedom program who were on or are currently on the weight loss drugs. I have one client and her sister both ended up with severe gastrointestinal issues, major constipation, pancreatitis is a side effect of this. I had another client who she loved it and then realized how expensive it was. Her insurance stopped covering it. She's traveling overseas. She knows she's not going to be able to get it. And her anxiety and fear about the whole thing started to come up again. Why? Because she had not healed from the inside out. She had not worked on the mental and emotional pieces yet. So that's what had her know that it was time to actually do this work that makes the major difference. I have another client who she was on it. She probably has about 100 pounds to lose, and she could only get 20 pounds off with the weight loss drug. So then she got off it. She immediately gained that 20 pounds back, which they know for sure that you gain the weight back as soon as you're off this pill or the injection. And yeah, so now she's kind of, again, floundering again and nervous about weight gain coming back with a vengeance again, as we're so familiar with that cycle. So here's the thing about it. I pulled up some of the side effects of these drugs, and I am, again, here to educate. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to criticize. I believe everybody is on their own weight loss journey, and let's be conscious decision makers. One thing that I look at, how it's kind of like a known thing that if you go on depression meds or anxiety meds, the doctor's always like, make sure that you also seek counsel in addition to just taking the meds. Obviously, at the end of the day, that always ends up being a personal choice as well. But it's like, if you think about it, it's like, okay, what you could use it as assistance, or if you're totally against it, then you're totally against it and don't use it. And maybe you will be totally against it after you hear some of these side effects. um, but again, we cannot actually heal unless you are doing the inner work, unless you are understanding the root cause of why you're eating in the first place. My favorite thing that I learned recently, as I listened to this podcast called Business Wars, and they did a whole series on the weight loss industry. And they tell the story of the woman who invented Weight Watchers and how it initiated for her because she ended up locking herself into the laundry room at her house to get away from her family and ate an entire box of honey buns, like a little Debbie cake snacks, hundreds and thousands of calories in a pack. And then she was able to, still manage to lose a little weight that week with her food addiction program she was following or something of the like. And then her friends were like, "Oh my God, you ate a whole pack of honey buns and you lost weight? Like, tell us how to do that." Right. So it's like, so then the birth of Weight Watchers, where you can eat anything in moderation, uh, became born, right? Was born. And Weight Watchers banks on knowing that people will gain the weight back. I did. I did Weight Watchers for a year and a half. I lost all the weight. I was on cloud nine. I was so happy. I was in the mirror with my bathing suit that year, like, I'm never going to go back to the way I was eating ever again. And within a year, it was all back. And that's the statistic. 80% of people who lose weight with diet and exercise gain it back within a year or two, sometimes more. And then you look back at photos of yourself decade after decade, and you just keep getting fatter and fatter each year. Okay, well, what's happening here? First of all, Weight Watchers knows that statistic, and they continue to roll out new programs and whatever, but it never quite works the same again after the first time, does it? Why is that? Your unconscious mind likes new things, and you've already evolved your consciousness. You learned what you needed to learn from Weight Watchers, and now it's time to actually look at something that resonates with you more. Then you can stay with it. You can stay consistent. There's so much psychology involved in all this. All of this to say with Weight Watchers. Okay, great. So you're going to keep doing that for the rest of your life, renewing your membership to Weight Watchers. What about the reason that she locked herself in the laundry room to eat a whole box of Little Debbie's treats in the first place? Why did that happen? What weird thing was going on in her mind that would have her want to do that? Now, I say that, and I've been her. I've done that. I did that. But we ask the wrong questions. Everything becomes about putting a band-aid on the problem. How do I make sure that I never eat like that again? How do I make sure, right? And it's so fear-based because when that stuff happens, when you indulge in a food behavior that's weird like that, that's embarrassing, like binging, or for some people, purging, which I've had helped many clients stop doing both of those things. It doesn't matter how severe, if it was in the past, if it's now, if it's moderate. It doesn't matter if you don't do any of those things and it's just, it's emotional eating or stress eating, or if you just feel like you can't control yourself, you are a food addict, like it doesn't matter what flavor it is, we can help. Okay? You can be helped. I want you to know you can be helped. Say out loud with me, I can be helped. I can get out of this. It actually is possible to heal. And again, go get that 2-hour masterclass, because literally the steps in my program is heal. Okay? Like it goes through the 4 steps and it spells out heal, because that is what we're doing here. Okay. So, yeah, why are we eating like a crazy person to begin with? All right, the answers are in that masterclass I made. Once we solve that, doesn't it make sense? Like if you can understand why you're doing that behavior instead of just trying to control the behavior by like, and literally the symbolism of it is that you have a beach ball and you are trying to push that beach ball underneath the water and keep it underneath the water for the rest of your life. That is what dieting is. That is what willpower, eating in moderation, you are just trying to push a beach ball down and your arms are getting fatigued. Eventually, your arms get exhausted. Something happens, something gets added to your plate. Maybe you're get shifted over in the pool and now all of a sudden the beach ball pops up, smacks you in the face, and you gained all your weight back plus some. You're frustrated, you're angry, you're confused, you're sad, you're hurt, right? Until you finally can start another diet again, only to start the same cycle again. It is maddening. It's absolutely absurd. It's so wild. It's so wild. I learned. I've been saying this, the weight loss industry is like a $7 billion industry. I was very wrong. It's like $89.9 billion industry. And it just skyrocketed since the weight loss drugs went out. $89.9 billion. How much money are we wasting on moderation, quick fixes? That is not how we're intended to be on this earth, if you ask me. Okay. So we're looking at the root cause here. If you understand why it's happening and you learn how to heal the root cause, you learn how to heal what's happening in the background. What thoughts drove you there? Did you have a stressful day at work? Are you worried about your marriage? Is your career bad? Are your finances bad? Do you just have really low self-worth? Do you have a belief that I'm not good enough? By the way, so many human beings have the belief that they're not good enough. It is not unique. Do you have the belief that I'm ugly? I've heard that one a lot recently. Have you had it since you were young? Do you just feel lesser than, inadequate? Maybe sometimes you feel good about yourself, but when you feel bad, you're locking yourself in the laundry room and eating Little Debbie's. And then you're mad at yourself, right? It's just like, ah, it drives me nuts. The whole cycle is just wild. Okay. So, with the weight loss drugs, again, it's another band-aid fix for this issue, right? It's another way to biologically have something false be added in. And that could be surgery, that could be the drugs, that could be the diet, that could be even like being in a relationship, right? Can be like a cover up over this, like it's all just the temporary. It's not actually like sourced from you. You were like on a deserted island all by yourself and you could eat anything you wanted and you couldn't gain any weight. I remember like this is like a sign. If it's like your last uh hours left to live, like what would you do with your last hours? I remember when I was so in diet mentality, my answer was I would go to the grocery store and buy every food I could and completely eat everything I could in the last couple hours. Like that was how much I was restricting myself. That my last hours on earth would be gorging myself. That's what I cared about. Now that is a sign of the beach ball being pressed underneath the water, right? Because it's like, okay, hands in the air. I'm eating everything until the cows come home. But consider that if you can learn how to live your hands up in the air and like tread water easily, then you're like, oh, cool. Like, how do I want to spend my last hours on earth? Like, I'm not deprived of anything. So there's no major pop up, right? I've learned how to live my life with my hands in the air. I've never said that before, but it is. It's like I've learned how to live my entire life surrendered. I love that so much. Oh, it's giving me the chills. Okay. Just live your life surrendered around food. And that could be applied to so many things. One of my favorite books is The Surrender Experiment by Michael A. Singer. And it's just this beautiful demonstration of how he went from like leaving his dissertation because he realized that the only reason he was doing it was because his mind said he should. And then he realized like he had that separation, realizing like he's not his mind, he's not his thoughts. And so then he like went through this whole surrender thing. He ended up discovering WebMD. Obviously, you know how successful that is. Anyway, but it's just like, wow, what if you could actually trust life, like with your hands in the air? Like, what if you could actually trust your decisions, trust your body, trust everything that's happening is happening for you, not to you? Then it makes for like heaven on earth is possible, like living a amazing blissed out life. Like my favorite is when my client in the past said, like, Leslie, has the trees always been this green? Like, oh, I'm actually going to this family party and just like enjoying the food without any drama in my head. Like it's peaceful. Yes, that's all I ever wanted was inner peace in this situation. Okay. So I think we get the point that it's external things versus internal things. Okay. The weight loss drugs is an example of the external things. Here are some negative side effects. So, first of all, GLP-1 receptor agonists is what they're called, these medications. They're used primarily for type 2 diabetes. And then people found out that they also cause weight gain or weight loss, pardon. Okay. So they can have negative side effects. Obviously, we know there's other medications that can have negative side effects. And here's what these include. So gastrointestinal issues. I have clients 100% have verified for me, ended up in the hospital because of this person. It was constipation, but nausea, vomiting. I had a friend who was on it and she was super nauseous, diarrhea. Number 2 is hypoglycemia. So it can lower your blood sugar levels. And yep, that's that one. Pancreatitis. That one freaks me out. Yeah, it says there have been reports of pancreatitis, inflammation of the pancreas associated with the use of GLP-1 receptor agonists. Symptoms may include severe abdominal pain, which I think on the Oprah special, there's this one woman who said that was what she experienced, nausea and vomiting. Okay, that's an organ of your body that you need. Okay, number 4 side effect, thyroid tumors. And this must be a heard one of the people on the Oprah special talk about long-term side effects they haven't found in humans, but they found this in rodents, an increased risk of thyroid C cell tumors with some GLP-1 receptor agonists. It says these have not been conclusively demonstrated in humans. It's still an area of concern and requires monitoring. Thyroid tumor? Okay. Injection site reactions, so redness, swelling, itching at the injection site. Weight loss, obviously that's why people do it, but it says that sometimes excessive weight loss may occur, which could potentially lead to malnutrition or other complications. Immunogenicity. It says there have been reports of immune reactions to some GLP-1 receptor agonists, leading to the development of antibodies against the medication. This can reduce the effectiveness of the drug over time, so you might get immune to it. And then what? You'll be knocking on my door saying, Leslie, you were right. This didn't work. There's no quick fix. There's no quick fix. Okay. And then the last one, acute kidney injury. I used to be a kidney transplant nurse, so I'm all about the kidneys. Some studies have suggested an increased risk of acute kidney injury with these drugs, particularly in patients with pre-existing kidney disease or other risk factors. Okay, so those are those things there. Um, yeah. So it's just really interesting to start to see what's happening. It's interesting to see that the weight loss industry businesses, Weight Watchers, was so panicked about everybody jumping on this bandwagon that they are changing their model. But either way, it's like I don't believe in Weight Watchers either. When I say that, I did Weight Watchers, it educated me on what foods created, like had the bigger points, right? Like I okay, I understood that. But then in my little diet mind, I created that the piece of cake that had 25 points. Still remember like some of the pointage was bad. And if I ate it, I was bad. And then this restriction and scarcity mindset kicked in my body like, oh, that's all I can have for the whole day is one piece of cake, you know? I'm gonna go eat lettuce all day long to try. And then it's like, oh, I'm gonna save up points all week long to sorry for laughing. Uh Save up points all week long so that I can eat one piece of cake on Saturday. Ew, I just remember being so empty feeling and like hungry, like not in a good way. It just felt like there was like this missing in everything. Anyway, with that said, it taught me that. But the more that you're in dieting, the more educated that you are in how to restrict calories and increase movement, the more your brain gets wired to just eventually take it to the next level of just like, I got obsessed. It became like a full-blown mental, emotional eating disorder, even though I was never diagnosed with eating disorder. I would diagnose myself with one. And the name of the one that I found out, I didn't even know what it was before. It's called orthorexia. I'm going to just read you the definition right now because I just have this popped up. Orthorexia definition. Somebody read this to me when I was living in Bali, and I was like, oh, I don't want to have a mental health issue. I was like, this is a mental health issue. This isn't me just being healthy. This is a mental health issue. Okay, orthorexia nervosa. We've heard of anorexia nervosa. We know that means not eating. Bulimia means means throwing up. Orthorexia is a term used to describe an obsession with healthy eating or an extreme preoccupation with consuming only foods that are perceived to be healthy. That was me. It's not officially recognized, okay, as a distinct eating disorder in the diagnostic manuals, but it has been proposed as a condition characterized by a pathological fixation on eating pure, healthy, or clean foods. My friends, dieting created my brain to become that way. It started out as just like, oh, I'm learning and this is fun and I like being healthy and it feels good to lose weight, to like extreme fixation on eating healthy. It's just my experience. I'm sure there's a spectrum of this. Individuals with orthorexia may rigidly adhere to strict dietary rules. I did. Become overly concerned with the quality and the purity of their food and experience significant anxiety or distress when faced with foods they perceive as unhealthy. I was terrified of carbs, of gluten, of sugar, of flour. This obsession with healthy eating can lead to social isolation, which it did, malnutrition, I lost my period for 2 years, physical health problems, and impaired psychological well-being. It's important to note that while a focus on healthy eating is generally positive, orthorexia becomes problematic when it significantly interferes with an individual's daily life, relationships, and overall health. Check, check, check for me. If someone suspects they or someone they know may be struggling with orthorexia or any other eating disorder, seeking professional help from a healthcare provider or professional is recommended. So yeah, sometimes we don't really know that we have like some kind of eating disorder, but I would say that all my clients are definitely on this spectrum, and obviously I was on the extreme, which is why I can coach anybody, because I was the extreme. And regardless of where you're at on that spectrum, if you do feel like you're on that spectrum, again, just know there's a way out. And again, it's clearing the mental and emotional pieces that are behind it. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this podcast up by just explaining quickly around the mental and emotional pieces. So here's the example. Okay, you had a hard conversation with your husband. Okay, it didn't go well. Maybe you guys have been going through a really hard time. Your body is terrified of separation, terrified of abandonment. Okay. Maybe you know that this happened since you were young because you were, maybe, your dad wasn't the best, or you had a little bit traumatic upbringing. So, like, you're aware maybe that you have like a fear of abandonment. And so, okay, all of that's there. But that feeling inside of your body of like the abandonment, okay? And it's like, I effed it up. It's my fault. I made a mistake. Now, this trauma can also happen just when you make a food decision. You know what you're supposed to eat in order to lose weight, and then you have a, cookie or something. And now there's this trauma reaction because it's like, oh my God, I messed up. Mine used to be like, I effed it up again. I used to say that to myself all the time. Okay, so the event happens. Whenever you are perceiving something happening in your external world, the unconscious mind makes a picture, quick as a flash. I'm giving my next neurolinguistic programming training coming up and teach all about how the insides of how this works. And it's just incredible. Okay, quick as a flash, you make a picture, okay, based on your past. And then that picture, right, based on what you're experiencing in real time, triggers your nervous system, your neurology to bring back the past, the first 0 to 10 years of your life. And so the trauma response kicks in. All right. And now the alarms are going off, and it literally feels like something terrible is going to happen in your body. The only way that you know how to handle it is to numb it, like use food like a medication to get out of the suffering state. So innocent. Of course, you need help. That is a terrifying thing to experience. Of course, you need to drink alcohol. Of course, you need to numb somehow. Of course, you need to be dramatic or gossip or the things that we do to get rid of this. Okay. Or you just completely stuff it down, but the energy has to go somewhere. Okay, whether you isolate or it comes out somehow, you get angry at your partner, you get, right, outwardly. People do either one. They either outwardly get angry and then they call me, or they are inwardly stuffing it in. Both places, not comfortable place to be. Again, you use something to numb. All right, all addiction, really, all addiction. Now you just did that, but you had this goal of losing weight. So now it's a double trauma because you're not doing what you said you were going to do. And what's wrong with me? And I can't stay on track. And I can't stay consistent. I'm a food addict. And it starts again. The tape starts playing again. Again, since it's a traumatic response again, what do we have to do? You have to numb again somehow. So you're probably going to eat again. So then you're coaching yourself and saying, okay, that's the last time, not going to do it anymore. And then you get up again and again and again and again and again. It's like Groundhog's Day again and again and again. Okay. That's the reality. And then you sign up for Weight Watchers again. And then you restrict again until something happens and you fall off again. And then you're back in that traumatic response again. No way out of that. Unless you know the way out of that. And you get what Weight Watchers inventor did not have. Okay. If you know the thought that you're thinking that's starting it, if you know that the thought is, I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, I'm the worst person on earth, I can't get this, blah, 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 then you can start to question that thought. Is that thought actually true? Am I the worst person in the world? No. What happens when I believe that thought, though? I start spiraling out. I start numbing on food. I start behaving this, that, the other way. I get short with my husband. I procrastinate. Okay. So that's what happens when you believe a thought. Just a thought goes through like this in your head because of something that happens. Okay. Now the thinking is creating this storm. Weight loss. Okay. All these, whatever, fad diets are giving you the like what to do with the storm. Yeah? No, no, no. What we're giving you at Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss is how to deal with the initial thing that caused the storm. Yeah? So it's like, okay, so how do we do that? Okay, so now the next step is like, who would I be if I didn't think the thought? Imagine I didn't think the thought that I'm the worst person, that I'm a bad person, that I'm ugly, that I'm not good enough. Imagine you can't think that thought. Imagine you can't think the thought that I can't control myself. Like literally, imagine you could put that thought in a hot air balloon basket and it floats away. You cut it away with a like a cord. Can't think that thought anymore at all. You might already feel a little bit lighter just imagining it go away. Maybe you need to burn it if it's still there. Burn it. It completely disappears. Who would you be without that thought? I'd be lighter. I'd be happier. I'd be freer. Good. I forgive myself for believing that thought. The truth is that I'm not the worst person in the world. The truth is that I'm doing the best that I can. The truth is I'm a human being and I make mistakes sometimes, but I learn from them and grow. And that's what I came here to do. And the truth is I'm a good person. And I know that because I cared when my daughter was upset the other day, because I want to do a good job at work. Because I love deeply, you know, because I just volunteered at church last week and I wanted to, like, right? And then it just completely dissolves that. And then it's like, okay, now what do you think about eating? And it's like, I don't feel that crazy desire to eat anymore. Really? Why? Because the trigger is gone, because you used a tool that helped the trigger be gone. Okay, so little spoiler. So the heal method that I teach in the free training I talked about. H is for hypnosis, helps you stop the crazy tape. E is for emotional mastery, helps you get rid of the trigger. A is for aligning with your true self. So it's like, now that I'm free from that because I just did this 3-minute tool, like, what do I want to do? Who am I? Oh, I'm a woman who's going towards living a beautiful, happy, present, peaceful, present life with my family and enjoying herself and loving myself and accepting who I am and appreciating who I am. And yes, valuing my health, but my happiness too. Maybe my spirituality, my life fulfillment, my relationships, my experiences, my travel or activity I want to do with my life. So then aligned with her, like, what does she want to do? Like, oh, I want to go for a walk. I want to go, you know, make a plan to go roller skating with my granddaughter next week. Oh, and by the way, that activity is movement, it's joy, right? And that's stuff that leads to the permanent weight loss experience. Yeah, so it's like that's the snapshot, like that's the work. And it's like continuing, like imagine if you just repeated that process over and over again. When I was doing this, I did that tool like 3 times a day, right? And I was so excited about getting out of the diet trap forever. I was so motivated and I just saw that there was a way out. And my intention for this entire podcast and for me just continuing to wave this flag is to just give you a little bit of hope that there is a way out of this, that you can have a normal, healthy relationship with food. You can learn how to eat moderate portions at meals. You can never overstuff yourself again. I can't remember the last time I got too full. Truly, truly, truly. Um, you can literally eat like the perfect food pyramid without even thinking about it by just learning what feels good and having a relationship with your body instead of constantly thinking about your body and being completely separated from your body, completely unaware that your mind's job is to move 24/7 on its own. And it's not thinking any unique thoughts. It's thinking the same freaking thoughts all day long, especially in spaces of idleness, which is why you work a lot. It's why you stay busy. It's why you try to schedule yourself so you don't eat to distract yourself. Like, I could have a completely blank day now. I used to see my mom and be like, oh, it must be nice. Or like, that's weird that you can just like have a whole afternoon to yourself and not gorge yourself or like only think about food or not be like whatever. I can have a whole day now and it's like I'm doing different activities or just I could just be laying in bed. I don't need to have food. I can have food. I might have food, but not if I'm not hungry. I'm not having food. I might have a little like desire to have sweets. I had some earlier and it's like, okay, enjoy it, but it's like not weird. It's just you eat it and you move on. And obviously, coming from someone who used to have orthorexia, who used to literally think sweets were the demon, I really never thought that I could get to this space. I used to see people ordering like a kitty cone at like an ice cream shop, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, nice, must be nice. Like, if I have a little, I need to have an entire half gallon of ice cream because I believed I was a food addict. Now I'm the annoying person that gets a kitty cone, or I'll get like the dairy-free ice cream because I just have learned that my body doesn't love dairy. Like, I don't feel good. I'm making decisions based on how I want to feel, but diet mentality and the mental aspect, you can't even know what you feel like because you're just judging everything you're putting in your body as good, bad, right, wrong, inflammatory, not good for me, gonna cause this cancer, gonna do this, gonna do that. Like, your brain is just moving so quickly in this just judgment machine that you have no idea how you feel until it's too late and you're unbuttoning your pants. Got to heal. It's possible to heal. And when you heal, people start asking you if you lose weight, even if you haven't. I remember I had a client, Ava. She was one of the first people to go through like my modern day Fast Track to Freedom program. She's like, Leslie, they're asking me if I've lost weight and I haven't, but I feel so much better. And they can like, she was like radiating this light. Her being became lighter. Her soul became happier. And she, because of that, her food decisions became easier. And like now she's a happy marriage. She just became a mom. She still works with the gal who also is like the healer in our program that does like these beautiful, deep somatic healing sessions with our clients to heal like past traumas or wounding from the past, preventing you from having total freedom around food. Um, she just did such a beautiful job and like she created her life today because she said yes to doing the work that actually makes a difference. Weight loss drugs, they will make a difference probably to already obviously so many people have lost weight, and if that needs to be what somebody does to like get them to the next leg and maybe it's the right decision for them at the time, fine. It's my belief that at the end of the day though, they're gonna need our program. I have not found any other program that does anything like our program does, because I had to do obviously programs to, and just one that really helped me initially, but then I also did other programs and like they all needed what our program, like I needed all the aspects to get the total freedom. um I have not found another program that has the hypnosis, the emotional mastery, the aligning to yourself with some amazing coaching. I will toot my own horn that I am an amazing coach. I am extremely intuitive. I see things that people cannot see for themselves. I have invested probably $100,000 in literally the best personal development, and not just reading books and whatever, but getting that coaching and like having other coaches show me everything that's going on the inside that I'm not aware of, that had me completely step into a new land. So no matter what area of life it is, it's like I've been there, I've seen it, I've experienced it. And so it's like such a amazing thing that I absolutely love to give back, is just like for someone else to show up and trust me and say like, show me what I can't see about me, Leslie, like this is my experience. And then I get to pour into you like, hey, but did you see this? Or like, hey, but I've noticed you're saying that. And it's like, okay, well, let's give you the tool to get past that. Now, what do you think about it? Oh, now I'm completely in a different world. right? That has people be able to stay consistent and actually be successful at losing weight. If you're in our community group, so it's on Facebook, it's the Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss community group. You can ask to join if you're not in there. There's a few quick questions. You'll get the masterclass that way too, if I said the number too fast. Yeah, this amazing client just posted a before and after of herself and her journey. I actually need to post it in that group now that I say that, because yeah, she posted it in the private client community, but I'll post it. So by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be in there before and after. And she just looks amazing. But she said it herself, I said it, and then she said it, like, yes, the weight loss happened. She leaned in, she trusted the process, but like, it's the inner radiance, it's the inner peace, it's the beauty, it's the joy, it's the alignment. She realized she was in a career she hated. She hated it. She was doing catering and it was so high stress, and she couldn't ever hire the right team to help her in the way she needed. And she's like, I need to stop doing this. She just kind of like followed suit with what her mom did. Her mom was in the food industry. And yeah, it was like such a process for her to get out of that. But like, it was such an act of self-care to actually say no to something that was, that stress, because she was out of alignment, was causing her to be out of alignment with her eating. Right. So oftentimes there's these other aspects, right? Relationship or career or finances, or it's like your whole life. And it's always an ongoing journey and process, like gets to be reorganized, readjusted. It has to, if you start to actually heal yourself. But to me, there's just no other option. Like, you're always going to be called intuitively to be doing what you're actually meant to be doing based on your values and your strengths. And how our minds are wired is that you're going to adopt the beliefs of your parents that are just your parents' beliefs and not yours. And so there always will be that stress and anxiety if you're out of, again, alignment with what you're meant to be doing. And your food will probably be the how you know that you're out of alignment, because the weight loss is happening. So, whole amazing journey that we get to go on. And I hope that this podcast has been helpful in just educating and giving you that insight of just the external things versus doing the actual inner work, and the value that it brings to dig deeper. To me, I just posted this in my group the other day. It's like, I just keep realizing how much the heart just wants intimacy. Like, how much I just want to feel connected to every moment. Connected to you, connected to me, connected to source, connected to my partner, right? My life, my home, connection. Like, it's just the intimacy, and sugar gives us that feeling of intimacy, right? So if you're like missing that in any way, shape, or form in your life, then you're going to fill the void with sugar, And so you could take a drug and have your brain stop remembering about sugar, or you could actually like find a way to create lasting self-care where you know how to create that feeling of intimacy every single day, so that you're not craving the sugar all day long. You just crave it sometimes and you have it and you move on, because your whole life is beautiful, it's intimate, it's connected, you love yourself and beyond. So love you so much. If you didn't catch the thing for the free 2-hour masterclass, again, text the word hypnosis to 1-855-232-5483. And until next podcast, we'll see you next time. If you are serious about taking action on your struggle with food, body, and weight, then this is for you. Go ahead and text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483. Immediately after texting that number, you will get access to our free training that will tell you why you can't figure the food, body, and weight thing out, why you can't keep weight off even after you've been successful in the past, and how to actually overcome it, including a mini hypnosis session at the end. Don't miss out. Text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483.